Welcome to the Explainer. Today we're looking at a scenario that I think literally anyone who has ever tried to manage their weight has experienced at some point. So picture this. You've been incredibly consistent all week, right? You're hitting your nutrition targets. You're feeling absolutely great. Friday morning comes, you step on the scale, and boom, you weigh exactly 60.0 kilograms. It's an amazing feeling. You're definitely making progress. But then Friday evening rolls around. You go out to a restaurant with some friends, you have a few drinks, you share a pizza, maybe dig into a really rich pasta dish, and you are for sure not skipping dessert. You just enjoy yourself without tracking a single calorie. Then, you wake up the next morning.
You stumble into the bathroom, maybe feeling just a little bit heavy, and you look down at the scale, and it flashes back at you in these harsh, unforgiving numbers, 61.3 kilograms. Oh man, the sheer panic sets in instantly. Right? Your heart just sinks. A 1.3 kilogram jump overnight. It suddenly feels like all that hard work from Monday to Friday literally just vanished in a single evening of garlic bread and tiramisu.
And of course, your immediate, totally panicked thought is, I gained 1.3 kilograms. Did I ruin my entire week? It's such a heavy, defeating feeling. Okay, let's dive into this, because today we're going to conduct a calm, scientific investigation of that specific number. We're going to step away from all that guilt and look exactly at what the science says is actually happening inside your body on the morning after. To really understand that 1.3 kilogram spike, we first have to redefine what we're actually looking at. One of the absolute most critical distinctions in weight management is realizing that an increase in scale weight is not automatically an equivalent increase in newly gained body fat. See, the bathroom scale is a pretty blunt instrument. It measures your total body mass. Yes, sure, it measures your body fat, but it also measures your bones, your organs, your blood, the water in your tissues, the glycogen stored in your muscles, and, this is a big one, the physically undigested food that's literally just sitting in your gastrointestinal tract.
Now, what's really fascinating about this breakdown is how it completely shatters that 1.3 kilogram spike into its actual components. Notice how tomorrow morning's scale number is overwhelmingly made up of non-fat, temporary physiological factors. The vast majority of that weight, it's glycogen and water, physical food still going through digestion, and sodium-related fluid retention. You see that tiny, tiny sliver right there at the end? That is the possible and very minimal actual fat gain.
Let's look at the science behind that tiny little sliver. While a calorie surplus absolutely does contribute to fat storage, real changes in body mass and energy storage are incredibly complex. To put things into perspective, it requires a massive, sustained influx of energy. We're talking roughly 3,500 calories strictly over your maintenance level to synthesize just half a kilo or 1 pound of pure fat. Even a massive, super-indulgent restaurant meal just doesn't provide the biological building blocks to create that much fat tissue overnight. A massive fat gain in a single evening is quite literally a biological improbability.
So, if it isn't all fat, what exactly is it?
Well, here's one of the simplest and most memorable explanations we found in the data. Food has physical weight before your body has finished processing it. Think about it. A huge heavy dinner doesn't just magically disappear into thin air the moment you close your eyes and go to sleep. It actually takes anywhere from 24 to 72 hours for food to physically move completely through your digestive system. That heavy pasta dish? It hasn't vanished. It is quite literally still hitching a ride inside your digestive tract, and the scale is just weighing it.
And this brilliantly illustrates another major factor, the carbohydrate-water connection. When you consume more carbs than usual, hello pizza crust and pasta, your body converts those extra carbohydrates into glycogen to store in your muscles and liver for future energy. But here's the catch. Glycogen doesn't just sit there all by itself. For every single gram of glycogen your body stores, it pulls in 3 to 4 grams of water right along with it. So those extra carbohydrates act exactly like a giant sponge inside your muscles, pulling in massive amounts of temporary water weight.
But carbs aren't the only sponges in this scenario. Sudden changes in sodium intake, which, let's be honest, are practically guaranteed with restaurant meals, sauces, and processed foods, they force your body to hold on to even more water just to maintain the proper balance in your bloodstream. On top of that, digesting a really large, heavy meal causes your digestive tract to work much, much harder, which leads to temporary fluid accumulation and inflammation. Add in the fact that you probably ate this meal a bit later in the evening, which delays gastric emptying, and well, you have the perfect biological recipe for a spiked scale the very next morning.
Now, I want to be completely honest with you here. We are definitely not saying that an energy surplus has zero consequences. A calorie surplus does matter. Actually, a really fascinating study published in the journal Nutrients found that just a single day of high-fat overfeeding reduced whole-body insulin sensitivity by a striking 28% in healthy adults.
So yeah, your metabolism does notice the binge. However, it's also true that digestion itself requires energy. This is called the thermic effect of food. Processing that massive meal actually burns off a portion of those excess calories. So while a fraction of the surplus might be stored as fat, the overwhelming majority of that scale spike absolutely is not.
Let's move to and see how this builds across a few days. Check out this multi-day trend. Friday morning, 60.0. Saturday morning, the panic-inducing 61.3. But as you return to your normal routine, watch what happens. Sunday drops to 60.9, Monday to 60.5, and by Wednesday, you are right back at 60.0 kilograms. This rapid decline is exactly what proves that the 1.3 kilogram increase wasn't newly gained body fat. As your body processes the food, sheds the retained sodium, and uses up the stored glycogen, all that temporary water weight simply vanishes.
Section 1. The biggest mistake. The day after trap. You see, the real danger actually isn't Friday night. It's what you do on Saturday morning. When people see that spiked number on the scale, panic instantly sets in. And panic? Well, panic leads to destructive, impulsive decisions that actually can ruin your entire week. Here, we draw a really stark line between two completely different reactions. On the left, we've got the panic response, where you try to fix it immediately. You skip breakfast, you fast as punishment, you cut out literally all your carbs, or you drag yourself to the gym for 2 hours of grueling cardio. But on the right, we have the scientifically backed and, admittedly, incredibly boring response. You just eat your normal meals, prioritize protein, drink your water, and move exactly as you normally would.
So why is the panic response so dangerous? It all comes down to the triple threat of fasting the day after a binge. If you punish yourself by skipping meals, first off, your brain senses a starvation state and actually suppresses your calorie consumption, which lowers your metabolic rate. Second, your blood sugar eventually plummets, setting you up for intense, totally uncontrollable rebound cravings by the time evening rolls around. And third, without proper nutrients, your body might actually begin to break down muscle for energy. You are literally engineering your next binge.
The ultimate point here is summarized absolutely perfectly in this quote. The damage in a binge-restrict cycle comes from the restriction, not the binge. Let that sink in for a second. Read it again. What you eat tomorrow morning matters far, far more than what you ate last night. Attempting to outstarve or outtrain a single day of overeating is exactly what keeps this miserable cycle running, and it's what causes long-term damage to your metabolism and your overall relationship with food.
Let's do a quick perspective check, all right? If you eat well most days but have a massive overeating day, it's true that a large surplus can reduce or even erase your calorie deficit for that specific week. We definitely have to be honest about that. But let's zoom out to 350 days of consistency across a whole year. Those 15 isolated days of indulgence, they do not dictate your long-term health or your weight loss trajectory. It's basically a mathematical rounding error. The overall pattern of consistency is still entirely on your side.
Setbacks happen to absolutely everyone, even elite athletes. Former Welsh rugby international Jonathan Davies frames it so beautifully right here. Progress comes from continuing to show up, even when things feel difficult. Don't dwell on it. Keeping your momentum going, no matter how slow it feels today, is what carries you forward. There really is no such thing as a ruined day. There is only the very next choice you make.
So what exactly should that next choice be? Well, here is the calm, totally evidence-based 24-hour recovery protocol. First, just return to normal balanced meals. Don't skip them. Make sure they have a good amount of protein and fiber to keep you full. Second, drink plenty of water. This helps flush out that excess sodium and assists with digestion. Third, take a light 20-minute walk. It might surprise you, but gentle movement actually stimulates gastric emptying way better than a punishing gym session. Fourth, get a full night's sleep to bring your stress hormone cortisol back down. And finally, just leave the bathroom scale alone for a few days. Give your biology some time to reset.
Which leaves us with one final question for you to consider the next time this whole scenario plays out. Will you track the trend or will you track the panic? Remember, one day of overeating is not a moral failing, and one single scale spike absolutely does not erase your hard work. Ditch the all-or-nothing thinking, lose the guilt, and just return to your normal, boring routine tomorrow. Your body already knows exactly what to do to reset. The only question is, will you let it or will you let the panic win?